As a real estate agent, one of the, obviously the main things that we do is to find values for the properties that we are either going to list for somebody, help a buyer buy, or even just to provide information for homeowners. And I wanted to give a little insight on how that number is actually generated, because a lot of people have a lot of ideas about it, and I actually get a lot of emails and texts from people saying, well, this house over here is on the market for this much, so that must mean that my house is worth this much. And that's not exactly how it works. So let me break it down for you really simply. The way I price properties, and I think the way most real estate agents price properties, is based on other similar properties that have sold. So that's the important part, is that they have to have sold, not that they're on the market. Within a certain radius of the subject property, and then falling within certain parameters of that property. So let's say we're just going to use an example that we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch house in Dover that we are pricing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back about 6 months in MLS. We should have plenty of options at that point. I may even shorten it to within the last 3 months, because that's another important parameter to follow, is the length of time from when the closing happened. And I'm going to search for other 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranches that sold in Dover. Now I'm going to get some that were built in 2023, and I'm going to get some that were built in 1952. My subject, let's say it was built in 1990, so I'm going to go within a certain parameter of that also. How many times can I use the word parameter in this video? Let's count. So I'll usually do 10 years on either side, and if that gives me a good amount of comparables, then I'll search from that and I'll expand from there. Same thing with the distance from subject. You can expand and contract based on how many comparables you get. The idea is to get sales that have happened that are as close to that subject property as possible in features. And then when there are things that are different, so let's say I have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath ranch that sold for $500,000. Wouldn't that be great? It's probably more like $700,000 in Dover. Well, we're going to say $500,000, and I'm comparing it to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Same year, same everything. Let's just say they're the same exact thing. So what I need to do is adjust based on the value of 1 bedroom. How do we get that figure? Well, a lot of real estate agents, me included, use recent appraisals in that area to figure out what the value of those things are. And that's really important, because eventually your home is going to have to appraise, unless we have a cash buyer. But so it's important to know the values that appraisers are using and use those values. It happens to be about $10,000 is the value of a bedroom on an as an adjustment on an appraisal right now. So that is the value I use. So if this 4-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in Dover sold for $500,000, and I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in Dover that is the same features, I'm going to subtract $10,000. So the value of this one is $490,000. That is the very simple explanation of exactly how we come up with pricing. Now, from that number, and I personally adjust based on the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the acreage. So I've got a value for acreage, the square footage of the house, and then there's a few other things, square footage above grade, square footage below, and then if there's special features like central air conditioning, outbuildings, garage spaces, obviously. So those are the things that add or subtract value from the home, and that's what we do when we are pricing homes. Now, obviously, once we have that value, then we want to look at the market, and we want to look at what's active in the market, what's under agreement. If there's a huge gap, you may be able to get a little bit more value out of and price it a little bit higher. You know, after talking to appraisers, I've got a couple of friends that are appraisers, and at the end of the day, the house is going to sell for just about the same amount. At the end of the day, the market is going to determine the value of your house. You could have that 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in Dover. You could price it at $100,000. It's still going to sell at $500,000. You could price it at $800,000. it's still going to sell at 500, 490, whatever. It's just a matter of time. It's either going to be a really quick, fun, maybe a little overwhelming process, or it's going to be a very slow, grueling process where you're going to be probably dissatisfied a lot of the time. And that's what it really boils down to. But that's the formula that we use for coming up with the value of a home. And, there's nuances. If you've got questions about any of that, please feel free to reach out. All of my contact information is below. If you're looking for the value of your home, even if you're not looking to sell, please feel free to reach out. I can chug these out pretty quickly. It only takes about 10 minutes of your time, and I actually really love doing it. So don't hesitate.